I wanted to ask before we get into the Bay Area, before we get into Anycart and all that stuff, is just learning more about how was your childhood. And you're from the city of Maringá. What would be the equivalent of Maringá if you are an American listening to this? Because it's not even an Austin, right? Like I would say that Curitiba would be Austin. So like, what would be Maringá if you had to compare with Brazil? And yeah.
Yeah, so I was actually born in Loanda, which is 20,000 inhabitants maybe at the time that I was born, and then later I moved to Maringá. Maringá is more. At the time I moved there was 300,000 inhabitants, so it's like pretty. It's a great city, and Loanda was very interesting. Like growing up, I grew up there till 7. And I could just bike everywhere. There was nothing, and completely free. And then growing up in Maringá, after 7 to then I've done college in Maringá. It was very interesting. I was always a bad student. Like I always needed like extra. My mom always put me into. What do you say? Like, how do you say?
Reforço.
Yeah. Yeah. So she was always,
extra push is a little.
Yeah, always had extra after the school. Like because I was doing bad at school, I had to do that all the time, and it was funny.
Why do you think you were not a good student when growing up? And I asked this because I was a very polarizing student myself. So I would only be good at the things that would interest me, and the subjects that I was not interested, I would almost refuse to learn them. So my mom wasn't that happy about that either.
It's weird. I think I probably didn't care, and that's the problem is that I really cared because I didn't want to go to the extra school things. I was like always mad. I was like, oh man, I'm doing bad now. I have to go to this thing. So I really wanted to go. Well, it's cool. Like I take good grades, but I couldn't. Like I just couldn't. I don't know. It was interesting, and but then like to get to college in Brazil, we have this test, right? The vestibular thing, and then at that point I was like, okay, this is a serious one. I really need to sit down and study, and then I was able to get into computer science. And I think that's where I had the dream that it was gonna go great, and I had to, I was gonna have this amazing experience, and the college was really important, and all that.
Was it a literal dream, or it was an aspiration, basically, just you?
It was an aspiration. I was like, okay, high school, everything else sucked so far. Then I'm gonna go to this university thing. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna have this career. It was great for the first month, a lot of party, a lot of things, but then like it was so bad. Like I was horrible. I was like the worst student in the first year. I hated it. There was a lot of math, a lot of calculus, a lot of things in computer science that was unrelated to the things that I liked. So then I basically gave up. I was like, okay, this is not for me, and I opened a business, which was in Brazil. Games was really hot at the time, and it was like video games, so playing in LAN house. So then I opened
it was the Counter-Strike days, right? Of course. We all the... Yeah, why get girls, right? Let's just pretend to kill each other with machine guns.
Yeah, and then I started a business, and then I had employees, and I had all these things, and then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? It sucks. I never, ever, ever want to have a business again. I was like, this is the worst thing, having to deal with people. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, I need to finish college for real, and then get my diploma, and then get a good job, and never, ever open a company again. That was my
seems like exactly what happened, huh?
Exactly. So then I was the worst student in college. Then I after this opening a company thing, I came back.
Well, wait. Before that, I think that there's a non-trivial part of what you're talking about here, which is you again realized that you weren't really suited for academia, or maybe that like uncreative structural setup in which, unfortunately most people learn today. By knowing you, and this is more of a suspicion that I think that I suffer from that as well, and I would consider myself a creative person as well. But quitting college and starting a business is a pretty big jump. Like, just giving up college is already a big jump. How did you go from that to actually, hey, I actually want to start a business? And was it because you were already building things and you had this urge of just continuing to build? Like, what brought you to say, okay, out of all the things I can do in my life now, I'm going to start a game studio?
No, that one was out of, so I had already gave up, but then like there was a strike in Brazil for the college. So nobody was, so in that time,
This is crazy. For the ones that don't know, the public colleges in Brazil, they go on strike frequently, right?
Yep. And then there was like a 6-month strike. And then in that time, I created a business and I was running it. But by the time like this 6 months passed by, I was like, wow, it really sucks to run a business and have employees and do all these things. I really want to go back to college. So then like this strike actually saved me, because it gave me time to try something new and then go back to it. And there was it was funny because I was the worst student in college before the strike, and then after the strike I was the best. I came back, I was like, oh, I really need a job. I really need security. I really need an easy job, whatever. I was really, that was my experience at least. And then,
that's great.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then it was funny because I came back to college. The first in Brazil is the whole year. So you do like by quarter. So in the first 2 quarters, I was the best student. I was like taking the highest grades. But then in Brazil, like if you take the highest grades 2 times, then you're almost like, you don't need actually to work hard to the other one. So I was like highest grade, and then 0. and then I came back to normal. So I was like just lazy again.
You're just like a good software developer, right? Like the best developers I know are very lazy. For them, it's more just about like, how can I get it done with the minimum amount of effort or work? So, so according to the code there, you passed already. So that's actually an appropriate answer.
So lazy. Yeah, that's my early story.
That's great. And then,